As a deity in flesh, incarnate from time to time as the reformer to renew our story every 24,000 years. I come from a planet, Marzak, Risk, in Maalan, Ilion. You, Munwapu, of the Musbatu, are to thank Panatharu or Pamuntaru for their protections and for Pataruk bi Patarat, sent as a guidance on how to live. I tell you this out of Ashuk, divine love, of beloved jewels of my eyes. You now have the Sawad, truth, and it will free your mind, body, and soul if you accept it. Love each other, each one teach one. Pa Muntar, the warner. Live for, of, and by each other. Truth is truth. That's from the 33 commandments of the Sabians. Okay. And of course, that's Pa Nabab Yanun speaking as that being that is known as the reformer for the renewal of our story, which happens every 24,000 years. And this is what Wu-Sabat is. So, the real resurrection. I know there are many ex-Christians or still not quite reformed Christians in the house. What is the resurrection? Anyone? Any takers?
Jesus resurrecting from the cross. Oh.
Can you grab the mic so that we can hear you? We've got one taker.
Is the reborn of Jesus after the crucifixion?
Hold up, Josie. Okay. What's your name, brother? Kwame, yeah, go ahead.
Jesus resurrecting from the cross.
Resurrecting from the cross.
Yeah, coming back alive from the cross.
Coming back alive from the cross.
After he was crucified, yes.
After he was crucified. Okay. Go ahead, Josie.
Tips. For me,
Okay.
resurrection, my own understanding is when the true nature of you, which is called Christ, comes up and takes over yourself, and you become resurrected back to your true spirit, true self.
Okay. So, okay, so what is Easter then?
Easter is more like this traditionalist putting symbols, and they created a fanciful story behind the act that you come into the world to become physical. Then there will be a time where we'll go back into spiritual. So they made it into symbol stories and folk tales and etc.
Who's they?
The world as we know it, the external world.
The world as we know it.
Religion, society.
Yeah. Okay. So what's Easter eggs got to do with anything?
What I read was that they tried to actually, it's just for me, it's people fooling us. They're just trying to sell their own story of procreation and selling they mix things around. That's
okay.
I don't follow the eggs.
You don't follow the eggs. Okay. I mean, no, that's it. No Christians in the house. That's good. That means we're doing our job right. Because it doesn't seem like many people are
But this time we have a lot of information. So when it comes to the eggs, it's more to deal with the capitalism and on people spending money they don't have in order to buy things they don't need, more than any other celebration.
And bunnies, rabbits. What's that got to do with anything?
make money for them.
So obviously, we all should by now know that it's a pagan, one of the pagan celebrations that has been, as you said, made into economics and monetization. Correct?
Yes.
Positive.
Okay, so how can Jesus resurrect if he never even existed? Number one. And in the history of the world, when have you known anyone to die and come back alive? Any evidence anyone can produce?
Zero.
Zero. But somehow the whole world has been duped into this story that somebody died and was then resurrected after 3 days. When you count the days, it doesn't even add up. Yeah, so it's a made-up story. Oh, we got a hand up. D'Angelo, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Right. Can you hear me?
Rahul back.
Rahul back. Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Go
Yeah,
on.
I just wanted to say, growing up as a child, I remember the resurrection story being that Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, quote unquote, died on the cross for our sins and then resurrected 3 days later. And as a child, it did not make sense to me. So I'm glad this is a topic because it's a lot of handing down of misinformation, especially to our people. Because if quote unquote, the Lord Jesus Christ died on the cross for our sins, my question was always, well, why is there still so much sin?
Exactly. That's the key, because the whole foundation and basis of Christianity is based on this, this, this story that he came to die for the removal of sins from the world. And so he died and then came back alive and then went up to heaven. But as you say, he's still not able to save anybody because he couldn't even save himself from being crucified according to their story. So how is it that he can save anybody? Or how is it that if he came to remove sin from the world, as you've just said, there's still sin in the world? These are the types of questions that they stop you from probing further and asking, because it will expose the lies and the fiction, which they call crucifixion, but it's the crux, C-R-U-X, the crux fiction is they say, the greatest story ever told, because that's exactly what it is. It's not real. And Wu-Sabat demystifies things, and Wu-Sabat is here to basically set the record straight and for people to be brainwashed. Yeah, I said brainwashed because they teach you that being brainwashed is a bad thing. But when you wash anything, you make it clean, don't you? When your shirt is dirty, you wash it. So if your brain is dirty, it needs to be washed of the filth, and so that you would actually know what is the real resurrection. What is the real resurrection, and who is that being that has come to resurrect you? So there's a difference from being resuscitated than being resurrected. Josie, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes.
It's actually a Q&A. I've just used this topic because it coincides with what's happening this weekend, and so right. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we appreciate all of that. I have a question which is related with this pagan celebration that we already know, nah? It's a pagan celebration, and I'm in a position of management in a business, and this week I've received a call from my colleague asking the designer, how we would celebrate it. So I felt a lot of contradiction within myself, knowing what it's all about. But because I'm running a business, I was okay. I allowed it to happen, knowing that I would ask this question today, which is, how should I go about it? Because, okay, I have business related people, customers that are celebrating it. But personally, as Serbian, I don't. And I see myself posting on my social media banners and flyers related with this. What is the correct posture to deal with in the metrics or in the system with such things as a Serbian? Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, the correct way is to, as you say, acknowledge that it's not real, and then you can use that time to educate people of the facts, of the truth about it, because, like, one of the problems is because we are still integrated and involved in this world, all right? So as much as you might say you don't want to be involved, you still get involved in some way, shape, or form, because it's like even the Christmas and all of that, which are also pagan holidays, it's like whether or not you don't put up trees and buy presents and celebrate it, your neighbors and other people or your family members are going to be and even just going out into the world, you're going to hear jingle bells, you're going to see all the TV programs, everything is going to be geared towards that, because it is about marketing and selling, you see. So you counteract it. That's what we do as Musbatu, where we don't, for example, want the children to feel left out. So what we do, we have our own calendar, and within our calendar, we then have replacements for, their equivalents. So we would give the children, the education around it and tell them the truth, because, you can't, like you say, serve two masters. So you have to still be able to make them, the children that is, not feel left out. At the same time, you have to tell them the truth and teach them so that they will know what it's all about. Does that make sense? And of course, if it's to do with your work and your job and things like that, you have to obviously be smart enough to know how to navigate through it, because Napians are supposed to be very intelligent and smart. So you can't be stupid in terms of being so right that it's like what the master says. It's like you can't badger people or be so right that you make people feel bad or uncomfortable and all that kind of thing. So you've just got to know who is able to listen to what you're saying, and if they're willing to receive it, then you'll share that with them. So today, I'm going to just read, there's the master teacher, partner Babianun, Dr. Malachi Ziyuk, as you know, he puts out many scrolls to basically address these fallacies and address these lies and all these pagan rituals that have had the minds of our people trapped for many years, 6,000 years, but more specifically in the last 400 years, from the 1600 as we count it down to the year 2000 of the end of the devil's rule, you see. So it's very important that many people are transitioning from that world into Wu-Sabat. But you've got to be, in this day and time, you can't have one foot in and one foot out. You've got to be in Wu-Sabat, because that's the future. That's what makes sense. And that's our way, if you really want to know the way. So in this book, the master teacher put out called The Fallacy of Easter, It says, each year, millions of Christians worldwide faithfully observe the so-called holy day, Easter, with Easter bunnies, Easter eggs, Easter bonnets, etc. Now, ask yourself these questions. What do any of these things have in relation to the story of the Messiah, Jesus? Can you see any logical connection between brightly colored eggs, cottontail rabbits, new hats, and the account of the life and so-called crucifixion, resurrection of the Messiah Jesus? Are there any verses in your scriptures for drawing such ridiculous conclusions? Or for that matter, where in the scriptures, be it the Bible or the Quran, does it state that you should attend Easter sunrise services, eat hot cross buns, put ashes on your forehead, or observe Lent? Easter, however, is considered to be one of those most important Christian holidays. It is supposed to be the high point in the religious year. Why? Then I ask, are you unable to find modern Eastern traditions revealed and explained in the scriptures as the practice of the Messiah Jesus and his disciples? So you shouldn't be celebrating these pagan festivals. You shouldn't. And Christians, along with other false holidays that have been instituted throughout the ages, are nothing but tools that the devil uses to keep you off the right path. If finding out the truth about the Messiah Jesus, one of the prophets, is your deepest and most heartfelt goal, are you then going to reject the truth when you finally find it? So, you can see the falseness in Easter is nothing but a false holy day, which in reality has nothing to do with the Messiah Jesus. Do not let yourself become like that heathen in the desert who shall not see the truth and shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in the salt land that is not inhabited. The origin of Easter. Easter, like many other pagan holidays that are celebrated by Christians and non-Christians alike, found its origin in the Babylonian Empire ruled by Nimrod. The word Babylon is derived from the Greek word Babel, meaning confusion, chaos, vanity, and emptiness or nothingness. Babylon was the first major civilization founded and it goes on to say, at first, Nimrod ruled Syria, Persia, and all the Tigris-Euphrates area. When he became established on the throne of royalty, Nimrod governed his subjects with justice and rectitude until the expiration of a considerable time. He was blessed with prosperity and good fortune. As long as he was still following the ways of ancient Sumer, or the Anunnaki, Elohim, you know this to be true from Genesis 10:10, where it speaks of the fortress of Calneh, meaning fortress of Anu, who is considered the most high, Ilion El, to the Sumerian. So at first, Nimrod governed his subjects with justice and rectitude until Satan, in the form of Merlin, the magician, right, the unequal champion in the art of seduction, inspired him, Nimrod, with diabolical suggestions of haughtiness and tyranny. It was then that Nimrod overstepped the dignity of a king and claimed himself to be the Most High. And in Aramic Hebrew, a dialect of Ashuric Syriac Arabic, Nimrod means we will rebel or let us rebel, from the Aramic Hebrew word marad. In Ashuric Syriac Arabic, Nimrod is the same root letters are found in marad. Nimrod was in complete opposition to the laws and commandments of Anu. The system of his opposition was to control the Amorite, the mountain dwellers cursed with leprosy, so as to have them believe that Nimrod was the creator and be worshipped. So basically, he started off well, Nimrod, and then he kind of started to get egotistical and wanting to be worshipped and ruled, etc. He was so overbearing, it is said that he married his own mother, whose name was Semiramis. Semiramis became the Babylonian queen of heaven. Through the generations, in this idolatrous worship, Nimrod also became the false Messiah, the son of Baal, the son of God, in his false Babylonian system. The mother and child, Semiramis and Nimrod, became chief objects of worship. The worship of mother and child spread over the world. The names varying in different countries and languages. For example, in Egypt, it was Isis, mother and Horus, child. In Greece, China, Japan, and Tibet, there is a counterpart of the Madonna made up long before the birth of the Messiah, Jesus. So these are the different mother and child across the different countries. China, Shinmu, Holy Mother. Egypt, as you know, Isis, goddess and Horus, child. Ephesus, Dina, mother of gods. Greece, Aphrodite, goddess. Israel, Ashtaroth, goddess and Baal, child. Rome, Venus, goddess and Jupiter. 7, Scandinavia, Disa. 8, ancient Germans, Hertha. 9, Etruscans, Nutria. The Druids, Virgo, Patutura. India, Indrani. Asia, Sibyl and Son Dios. The Hindu believe in the Trinity, which is 3 gods that are supreme over the demigods, such as Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, the god of destruction. So this Madonna and child, you know, is seen throughout many different cultures, but that is where they get the story of this mother, Jesus. All right, so it was during the 4th and 5th centuries that the pagans of Western Europe were accepting the newly popular Christianity by the hundreds and thousands. They did not hesitate to carry their old customs and traditions along with them. So along came the Trinity, Christmas, Easter, and many other pagan practices that people today attribute to the Messiah Jesus. Nowadays, the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church is symbolic of Nimrod. Once they became Christians and started to celebrate this feast, which comes in the spring, they kept the old name of their spring goddess, and the feast became known as Easter. The word Easter and the German word Ostern come from a common origin. Eostra, Easter, Ostara, Oster, which to the Norsemen meant the season of the rising, growing sun, the season of new birth. The word was used to designate the feast of new life in the spring. The same root is found in the name for the place where the sun rises, east, Ost. The word Easter then originally meant the celebration of the spring sun, which has its origin in the east and brought new life upon the earth. This symbolism was then transferred during the Christian era to the meanings of the Easter you all know today, which is supposed to represent the new life of the Messiah Jesus, or what the Christians call his resurrection. Was the Messiah Jesus resurrected? Answer: no. The most avid advocates of the so-called resurrections are the Christians, but even most Muslims, especially the Sunni Orthodox Muslims, don't understand it. They don't even have the proper understanding of the meaning of the word resurrection. So let's take a look. Resurrection. To resurrect means to have died and come back to life in a spiritual sense from out of the grave, a resurgence. This raising will only take place on the last day. The resurrection of the Messiah Jesus in the American Heritage Dictionary defines resurrection as the rising from the dead or returning to life, the state of those who have returned to life, a returning to practice, notice or use rebirth, the rising again of Christ on the third day after the crucifixion, the rising again of the dead at the last judgment. So in Islam, they call that Yawm al-Qiyamah, yeah, which is the day of standing. According to us, we know that Jesus didn't die. The actual one lived to be a ripe old age of 120 years and went to Egypt and continued his life. This is Yeshua bar Miriam, right? It should not be mistaken with the Yeshua to the one day talking about, or Tammuz, the son of Ishtar, and Damuzi from ancient Sumeria. And originally Easter was called the Feast of Feasts, Sunday passed by many nations in different tongues, such as Greeks, Romanians, Pasha, Italians, Pakua, Spaniards, and the Portuguese, Pascua, French, and it goes on and on and on and on. So it's all a fallacy. I'm not going to obviously, even the word Christian that was coined and made up, first time you heard of that was in Antioch in the book of Acts in the Bible, specifically 11:26, because that's where they said they found the Messiah who's been interpreted as the Christ. Okay, so can you be dead and be resurrected? Question.
Not that we have seen or experienced.
Yes, you can.
Right. First of all, what is death? Before we even start to say you can die and be resurrected, what is death? Go ahead. Please use the mic.
The death is when you can no more breathe. No more breathe. Breathe.
Oh, when you can't breathe, that's death.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fair, okay, let me put the question another way. Are there different types of deaths? Because what you described is referred to as physical death.
Yeah.
Right? So that, yeah, somebody said, yeah, so you can have many types of deaths. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because you only breathe if you have a physical body, isn't it? Yeah. Because you have a nose, right? Yeah. So without the nose, the physical body is gone, but are you dead? As in, if you're still alive without the physical body, aren't you? Because energy cannot be destroyed. So going back to the original question, how many types of deaths are there?
Spiritual death.
There you go. That's one. We said physical already, physical death, spiritual death. What else?
It can also be physical death.
Sorry? Josie, was that you? Okay. We've got two so far. We've agreed, right? Spiritual death, physical death. Any other deaths?
Mental.
Sorry, 1 second, Tibbs.
Mental death.
That's the one I was waiting for. Mental death. So far, we've got 3. Oh, Haptui is online. I'm going to make him mod Haptui. Raul Batzema. Yeah, so we've got physical death, spiritual death, mental death. So many people are walking around, maybe dead. And we call them what?
Zombie.
Sorry?
Yeah, no, sorry.
We call them the walking dead. You've heard of that term, right? The walking dead. There's actually a whole series on
Yes.
about the walking dead. So what does that mean? So you're walking around, but you're dead. So not everyone you see walking around is alive. Things that make you go, right? So there are many dead people that we have to resurrect. So going back to the topic of the class today, sorry, I thought I made you mod already, actually. Going back to the topic of the class, the real resurrection. The real one. Please use the mic. Go ahead, Siobhan.
Now you said there are 3 types of death. Can you explain what each one is? And
Okay, sure. So the physical death is obvious because when you're physically, like we're all here, we're animated, we're moving, right?
Yeah.
So you're alive, but something is keeping you alive. And at some point, when whatever that is no longer there, your physical body stops moving and you start to get cold. This is referred to as rigor mortis, right? This is where people will take your pulse to see if you're still alive. And they'll say, flatlined, he's gone. So that's physical death. That physical body then gets either cremated or buried. And if it's buried, it's going to take a long time. This is why I say you can't die and come back, because the minute your body starts to, get hard and rigor mortis sets in and your body starts to rot, it starts to decompose, you see. And so your limbs, your organs and all of that are no longer.
It doesn't seem like the headphones work.
Chuck, if you're not
Yeah.
asking a question, please mute yourself. So there's no more oxygen being sent to the brain. So that's physical death. Spiritual death is when you're physically.
He just called to someone called Chuck.
Yeah, I can
As
see.
soon as I logged on, all I had was Chuck. If you're not answering a question, please, whatever.
Yeah, because your
Weird,
mic,
isn't it?
your mic is open and we can hear you. So if you don't, let me mute you. Yeah, so when you're ready to ask a question, you can unmute your mic. Thank you. So that's physical death. Spiritual death is when you're physically alive, but your spirit is not functioning the way it's supposed to. Yeah. Meaning that there is no connection, no personality. You're just there physically. You can look at you, look at your eyes, and it's like there's no one home. Yeah. And there are people who only have a spirit and they don't have a soul. You see? So those people, they're not connected to nature in a way that it moves them, in a way that they have empathy, ashuk, which is divine love. So they're alive, but they can do wicked things and feel no remorse because they don't have that feeling, that connection. You see, everyone that is alive can be alive because they have the spirit. And in religion, they misinterpret and confuse the two different terms of spirit and soul because religious people who don't know the difference will say they are one and the same, but they're not. Some people that don't have souls will say there's no such thing because they don't have it. And there are people on the planet who are called soul people. And they like soul music and they like soul food. James Brown was the king of soul. Why is that? So there's a distinction between those people that have soul and the ones that don't have a soul. And this is why the confusion of looking at the different people that are dead, either mentally, if you're dead mentally means your mind is not functioning, meaning that you just accept and believe anything that someone tells you. You don't question it. You don't process it. You don't reason it out to see if it makes sense. You just accept it. So your mind is not functioning. Yeah. So you have to say, if there are different people walking around, some are physically dead. Those are in the grave, in the building called a grave. And they have a tombstone with a cross on it. Let me just write this down for those who are, because the cross is a symbol of death, right? How do we know this? Anyone? Why is the cross a symbol of death? All right. Let me draw the so it's a symbol
The
of death.
cross is, oh, sorry.
No,
Sorry, Sakin.
go ahead.
The cross is considered a symbol of death because that's what they said Jesus was crucified and died on.
Exactly. So it's a symbol of death because people walk around with a cross on their necks or hanging in their cars and their dashboard, which is this, right? And when you look at a square represents that too. Sorry, it's not symmetrical, but if you look at it properly, if you fold those corners, you can see, right? Cross, the crucifixion or the cross-fixion. The cross-fixion. Because fiction means what? Lies. And they mix truth with lies. So, as I was saying, if you were dead people live in graves and then put a cross on top of them. And mentally dead, this is physically dead people, right? Mentally dead people, they go to a church, a synagogue, and they put a cross on top of that, where people go that are mentally dead. So we have to look at everyone on the planet and be like, if you're on the planet and you're committing hideous crimes, wicked things, murders, rapes, name it, you can't have a soul because spirit is for anything that is alive, such as trees, animals, rocks. They all have spirits, but they don't have a soul because people will say, but a dog will cry when they see another dog get hurt. That is based off of instincts. It's learned behavior. You can have learned behavior that makes you look like you have a soul or emotions. Actors do it all the time. Actors and actresses of Hollywood. Remember when I was reading about Merlin the magician? Because the wood that Merlin the magician uses is called it's from the holly or the holy tree. They use that wand to cast spells on people. So when you say instincts, you can have a great actress. She'll cry and really get into character, right? And you would believe that they have soul because they touch your emotions. They have to learn that. And because when you're making a movie or cinema, you get a cast. So someone picks the people that are going to play an act. Remember the book of Acts? Act the part that is very convincing. So now you see people doing these things or these Adamites on the planet that have no soul. And they're doing wicked things. And people are like, why don't they care? Because they have no souls. And then learned behavior where you have the devil, right? Because the opposition to God is the devil, right? As they say. The devil who does what? Evil. the devil does evil, but there are two types of devils. There's a devil that is by nature a devil. They have no soul, no emotions, and they don't care because it's not in their nature to care. It's like when we talk about natures, you have in the animal kingdom, let's say you'll have cats, yeah? Different species of cats. Can anyone name any cats? Species? Lion? Any more? Tiger? Yeah? They're different species and they have natures. When you see a lion chase down an antelope and rips it and eats it and carries on like nothing happened. That's his nature. That's what it does. So when you're looking at beings on the planet that are devils, that have no souls, that do these things, right? You have to remember that that's the nature. Then you have devils who have been converted into devilishment because they learn that behavior by way of being in a situation, being put in an environment where they have no choice. And they become, by way of having to survive, they will act and behave and do certain things. And they will say, oh, they're devils. But those people have a soul or a conscience and they feel bad about doing it, but they have to do it to survive. So, Wu-Sabat, when we say the real resurrection, this is what Wu-Sabat is doing. It's resurrecting the mentally dead from the clutches of religions, and the real Messiah is Partner Babylon. He is the one that has come. You see us, we wear the symbol of life, not death, because the cross is a symbol of death, because it represents the last or the wicked part of the person they say they crucified. God's son, man was able to crucify on the cross. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. So the real resurrection is happening now with Wu-Sabat all around the world. And Partner Babylon is that being that has come as the real Messiah, the living Messiah, not the dead one, to wake us up. And he's done that by way of Wu-Sabat, by giving you back the truth and nothing but the truth. And if you have a soul and you have your ancestors within you, when you read the truth, when you read the words, when you read Partarak, the way, it will touch you. It gets to your soul. That's why people are like, when they come across Wu-Sabat, they're like, wow, I've been literally dead all my life. Now you're being woken up. Then you get the woke folk. The woke who are real and the woke who are folk that are mimicking or just seeing this as a fad or a fashion that they follow along. This is real. Wu-Sabat is real. And you know it's real because of what it's doing. And this resurrection started in 1970 when the master opened the seal that was hidden away. And for the last 6,000 years, we were under this spell. Tibbs, you got your hand up. Go ahead, Zamal. Unmute yourself. I think you're Zamal.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick question. This resurrection and rapture, how do they align?
Right. I didn't say anything about rapture. But
yeah, it's my question.
Yeah, I got you. So tell us then, since you mentioned it, what is the rapture according to what you know? And then we'll give you the right knowledge.
Okay. Well, I heard what I know. Okay. I heard in church that a certain trumpet will come out of wherever and announce, and souls will just be taken up. That's what I heard. And
Okay.
I also heard upward, But anyway, so then I also read about a certain number of people that will have to be taken to be the cornerstone for a new kind of life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So the rapture, according to religion, is a time where people will be taken, as you say, taken up, and they will be taken up to be saved, and they're gonna do what? Live happily ever after, right? But the rapture is really talking about these extraterrestrial beings that are coming here to take food, take people for food, and it's happened already, and it's still happening. It happened. There's a movie called The Fourth Kind. If you don't know and haven't seen that movie, it's a documentary that is dealing with an actual event that took place in Nome, Alaska, where these Anunnaki beings came. Of course, I'll just touch on extraterrestrial. For some people, that might be new, but these are what people are calling angels, gods, etc. Right? I'm just bringing up some people on Clubhouse, and yeah. So the rapture is really a raptoid dealing with these reptilians that are taking people that are just mentioned that are dead. That when you're dead, you're not protected. You're not protected because you're literally just prey. That's why all these words like pray, you hear in religion like P-R-A-Y, P-R-A-Y. It ties in with the P-R-E-Y. And when you're saying rapture, you're not really seeing raptor as in these reptiles, beings, reptilians that are coming here for food. Now, in the real sense of the word, there's always agreeable and disagreeable, or what people term the truth and the falsehood. So you also have, and the reason that is done is because the devil makes evil fair seeming. He uses confusion, chaos, and things like that to make people not know what they're doing or where they're going, because the confusion makes you think, oh, all these religions have lied to me all my life. So anyone else who's going to come along is going to also be a liar. So you stop trusting, you stop being open in terms of your soul. But when Parnababyanun, or the information of by way of master secrets, actual facts, Patarak, hits you, it touches your being. And you feel it. You know what's true from what's not true. And so, yeah, was that Tibbs? You still have your hand up. You made on mute?
No, we already answered the question. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so that's, they gave you that rapture, but they don't give you the details of when it's happening, how it's going to happen, where you're going to be taken, and where you're going, you see. So what we do in Wu-Sabat, we give you the facts. So there is a rapture for the 144,000 pure souls or beings that elevate themselves and transform themselves from being a dead being to a live being, and clean themselves inside out by way of Wu-Sabat, and study Wu-Sabat and put Wu-Sabat into practice and put it into actual life, and await the master who will be doing the selection of whose names are written in the book of life, and who will be able to make it out of it and taken. So there's the real one and there's the fake one. Yeah, so that's what that is.
Sorry, is there a time for this too?
Yes, the time period is now, and it goes on till 2030. So on that note, let me see if I can find something to read for you. But yeah, in the meantime, if anyone else has a question, Clubhouse or on Zoom, feel free to ask. This is your time to be resurrected. So your questions are what will get you to that resurrection, because you're probably A lot of people are sitting there, and their soul, their ancestors are talking to them, and they have these questions of, why am I here? Why am I listening to this? How comes this information has touched me? Someone's brought you here, or you've found it by one means or another. On that note as well, as you know, we've got a projector. We haven't got a projector. We've just hit 100,000 subscribers today on our, YouTube OSM Vision channel. And that's amazing. And we're reaching the world, and you just only have to read the comments and get the feedback from people to see that Wu-Sabat is truly, I see people clapping, thank you. We've already got the documentary lined up for you. We told you, we're going to deliver. When we say something, we mean it. I'm sure you all seen the trailer already. Yeah, that's the countdown. And we've put it for the 27th because 2 + 7 is 9 ether. So we're going to, so get your popcorn or whatever, beverage you have. When you're entertaining yourself, sit down, relax, and take that in. But there's a lot of big things happening, and it's all kicking off with the resurrection, the true resurrection, by the true reform of this day and time. He's here, he's been here, and his presence is being felt. Whether people like it or not, whether they accept it or not, truth is truth. Right. Truth is moving through you, through your soul, through the world. And that's the time everyone's been waiting for. You see, this is what's happening. Some people try and fight it. Some people don't recognize what's going on. Some people don't know that, it may not be their time. But the fake resurrection that I see people on the street carrying big crosses and being whipped and all that falseness going on today, and it's all fake, and that's how you get caught up. But I think many people are starting to see through the lies. But I wanted to, let me see if I can find what I want to read. But in the meantime, if anyone else has a question, if you're on Clubhouse, come up on stage and unmute your mic and speak. If you're on Zoom, just raise your hand and we'll ask you to unmute yourself. The real resurrection is happening. Don't miss it. No questions? Okay. I'm going to carry on then. In fact, let's just take a moment, let it resonate. Let it resonate. It's happening. And we're just waiting for that moment when the master teacher, upon the Babyanun, steps back out, and you're going to feel that energy throughout the whole planet, because that's the type of being he is, Okay, let me read you. So I'm going to read you this update. Ties into what we're talking about. I, as a Ghanaian, came for my own people, the blacks all over this West, and my own people. Yet my own people received me not. That's John 1:11. Yet many of them that do receive Nwapu, Wu-Sabat, will receive eternal life and be transformed back into supreme beings, prepared for that journey home to Orion and Sirius. Let the earth sing, for the Son of Righteousness has arrived with the healings in his wings. No longer should you fear. The true Black Messiah is here. We are Africans, proud to be, live and die as Africans. All I am saying is it is time to return to who and what we really are as a people, our own stuff, and learn to live for and by each other. Is Bassa, Shem, can you make Bassa admin, please? Let me read that again. Let the earth sing, for the Son of Righteousness, that's S-U-N, has arrived with the healings in his wings. That's Malachi chapter 4, by the way, verse 2, I believe. No longer should you fear the true Messiah, the true Black Messiah is here. We are Africans, proud to be, live and die as Africans. All I am saying is that it's time to return to who and what we really are as a people, our own stuff, and learn to live for and by each other. For those women whose nose hole is still open, put back in your nose the ring, gold, pure. Genesis 24:22, Hebrew Strong's number 5141, Nazam, nose ring, only if they wish. So he's basically saying that the sisters that have the nose, the hole in their noses, if they want to, they can put back their nose ring, because it is about us being who we are and representing our culture. I know we will be nationers, tribers, familiars, and just readers. There are people who just read the books. They're content with just reading and that's it. Let people be what they will. Yet we are familiars. Family is those close to me and follow the lamb wherever. Many years ago, that saying was so popular. I follow the lamb wherever he goes. And you see, they forgot that book, Are They Black Devils? Right? So Barnabas Yanun is referring to a book he wrote many years ago, Are They Black Devils? And he says, yes, they are. And now you will see them stick up their heads. Why this? Why that? I ain't going to do this or that. Let them go. Those who stay will be those who pray. We will move on with our lives in peace. We don't hate the European race. No, we see they hate us for no reason. So we get out of their way and watch them self-destruct, as you see now. So let us move on from the haters with our lives. It would be nice to rebuild Tamaray. I would love to, yet not with haters all around us. Hanan means jealous. That is what they really feel about our Black race. Now, first, you must bring me home. We must bring Pana Babyanun home first. This has to end now. All who claim they got this or that must all work as one now before it's too late. Everyone's got to come together. I think last time I did a class on division, that division hinders the vision and the mission, you know, so we have to come together as one before it's too late. Now that it was pointed out that the world is receiving our doctrine, it opened my eyes that all my work over the years was not in vain. Wow, we are breaking the spell. Those who were reading Wu-Sabat, Nuwapu, that 144,000 pure souls, not to be confused by the fakers on pure spirit, selfish ones who only pretend and try and make a living out of us, Nuwapu, an old game that Ansars used to try. So now, those who feel they're free, look at them. It's clear. They eat, eat, eat. So sad. Their bodies will betray them. I used to always say to you all, the first and most important thing you must study is your own body. Inside and out, and outside inward, in order to reactivate your, or ba'ath, resurrect. Yeah? That's what ba'ath, B-A-A-T-H, resurrect the barothry gland of the submental to regrow in the hippocampus area of the brain, and the third eye will be opened. Between the two thalamus sits the pineal gland, and the and build the thymosin? Well, you know about our barythry gland that Europeans don't have. Ba'a, soul gland. There is so much that most don't know, and so many think they know. What fools these mortals be. I know over these years I did my best, yet mortals all want you to be their religious figures from their made-up Bible and Quran. They want to change alchemy into miracles. So alchemy is our science, and this is what we did and can do, and they term that miracles because they don't understand or have the knowledge of it. Spookism. Well, our time on this planet is almost over. And now that we are past the 400 years, from 1600 to the year 2000 AD, that's 6000 AD, for the cursed seed, all we see is the mark of the beast. Hebrew Strong's number 2416. Chaye, life is taken hold of the blacks in America. They offer their souls to the man of sin, live in their image and like them. Those to be saved will come from outside of America. Old man time running out. So that update encapsulates what I was saying to you before. Yeah. And you heard the word there, resurrect. And once you're touched by Wu-Sabat, once you're touched by the master teachers, tones, you should be resurrected. D'Angelo, you got your hand up again. Is that from before, or do you have another question?
No, I just wanted to, I missed, where were you reading from? I just wanted to write down what you were reading from.
It's an update. I'm reading from an update that came out
Okay.
this last month, March 2025. So are there any questions? Anyone? Tammy, I can see you got the Holy Spirit. That's good. Notice I didn't say Holy Ghost, right? Yeah, the Holy Spirit's moving through the world, through us all. And each one, reach one, and each one, teach one. Get Wu-Sabat out there. We still, once we hit 100,000, the next milestone is 1 million. So that's where we're going next. It's important to set targets.
Well, that's again, I got a question.
Go ahead, Zamal.
He's talking about the females that have the nose rings. Do the males have nose rings as well? They
can, yes. They can wear them if they want. If you remember, the master teacher had one. And when he first came and he was teaching us, wanted to give us Wu-Sabat, and we kind of kept asking questions about religion. At that time, he was giving us animism and teaching us about our traditions. And yeah, he had the nose ring. But it's really, if you read the new scrolls, like the Gospel of Yanun on the Sacred Feminine, that kind of gives you a clear, like, what a man should wear. And we got our jewels. The females have their jewels and we have our jewels. You can actually find that on the website. Let me see if I can. If you go on our official website, UnitedSabiansWorldwide.com, and look at culture, let me see if I can put it up. If you look at culture, you will see that it gives you the 9. It's also in our, I think it's in the 33 commandments as well, but let me just show you on the website. So anyone who is following at home, if you go to culture from the United Sabians Worldwide website, the last 2 items on culture, you see the men 9 jewels, and then you got the women's 9 jewels. I'm just gonna pull it up so we can let me share my screen. Yeah, so from culture, you see these are the 9 jewels of the Zamalu. So the Patarak, the way, Mitzvah, the jacket, mithril crown. You can see that. Pa meakad at the beads. Then you have the cane, pa mipta, pa patan, the Egyptian dagger. Does not have to be a real one. Because we know some people get carried away. Pa midra'at, the jewels, symbol, angtui. So you see us with the angtuis or the pendant. Pa mishul, which is the shawl. You see us wearing that as well. You can see there's a picture on the screen. This is what a Napian Sabian man should look like. Yeah. You can't see it, but yeah, so that's the male. And oh sorry, I forgot one more thing. You've got your the braid, pa mijdal. That's the braid where you see the men with, and you see Pana Babyanon in the picture with. You have pa miswa, which is a photo of Pana Babyanon, a color pocket, wallet size picture. Okay, so let's look at the females, or the Zamaltatu, sisters, culture, Sabian woman, 9 jewels. You can see our beautiful sisters there in their cultural attire. And Pana Babyanon loves to see us representing our culture. You have Wu-Sabat. So you can see here are the sisters' jewels. So they have the Patrak as well. They have the beads also. They have the pass key, which is a seal. They have 3 or more gold bangles. They have the braid also, but on the left or right hand side of their head. They have the third eye jewel, which is what people call the bindi, but that was stolen from us by, like, you know, the Hindus and so forth. They have the shawl as well. They can wear, you see them, they wear, it's like, people say scarf, but it's like they can have red, white, black, gold. And they have the proper outfit, pa jahaz, proper dress, colorful. They have the bag, the handbag for her personals. That's the mikyas. And number 9, Miswa, the photograph of Pana Babyanon as well. And this video shows you how the sisters greet themselves. Okay. Does that answer your questions, Amal? Okay, cool. Let's.
Sure. One more question about earrings, because I noticed in some of the ancient statues that some of the pharaohs had their ears pierced. So did that have any significant meaning behind it?
Again, it's our culture. But the thing with earrings, the master explained many years ago that the society we live in, they use earrings as a way of denoting their sexuality. So if you wear it on the right-hand side, you're saying you're homosexual. If you wear it on the left, you're straight. If you wear both, you swing both ways. All right. So I know some people just do things because they see everyone doing it by fashion and all of that. So be aware what symbols and signals you're giving when you're wearing these earrings. Yeah. So as far as our culture is concerned, yeah, we wear on the left-hand side. All right. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone on Clubhouse? Actually, let me check the chat, see if there's any questions in the chat.
Okay.
Curtis.
I have a question.
So you have a question?
Yes, please. Okay.
I'll see you. So please say
my
your name.
question is,
Yeah.
Tips Zofa. My question is, the Messiah being put in where he is now, is that part of a master plan? I mean, is it part ordained, or did we do something that we should not have? Or we slow, or why? What's the explanation?
Yeah, very, very good observation. Very good question. Because a lot of times people say things like, well, if it's the Messiah and if it's this and that, why is he locked up? which is a fair question. And we have to then remember that we have bigger and higher beings that know what we don't know. And there's an orchestration of things that are happening. And one of the things, and we're not saying that to make excuses, because it is a test for us, really. The test is for us to get him out. We've been given one task out of his over 1,000 books that he has written for us, covering everything we want to know to make us into supreme beings that we're supposed to be. And at the end of that, he has to test to see. It's like if you've gone to university for 3 years, you studied intensively. At the end of your course, you're going to have an exam to see whether or not you retained anything. And although tests may not be a test of intelligence, because there are people who would study all year round and flunk the exams at the end. And there are those who didn't study all year round and they just turn up to the exam, and the night before they cramped every answer they could possibly cramp based on the syllabus. And by luck, they will ace the exam. And you're like, this guy didn't study at all throughout the year, and I was here busting my brain studying. So although exams are not purely a way of measuring intelligence, they are a way of seeing whether or not you've retained or studied what you were taught. So he's given us 1,000 books covering everything. And he says, all right, I'm going to test you all. This test is for you all to do together. You know, like when you're in college, you do assignments in a group. This is our assignment worldwide to see if the works have made an impact. Have they transformed us? And that test is love and unity. He said, I want to see you all come together in love and unity and prove to the world that you are those great beings that everyone knows you are for yourself. You built the pyramids, you did all this great stuff. But the one thing you have that you haven't been able to do, and every leader that's come along has said the same thing, power is in our unity. Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Noble Drew Ali, name them. All have said one thing, our power is in our unity. I think that's the slogan for Jamaica. What's the slogan for Jamaica? Out of many voices, or no Jamaicans in the house? Many voices.
Out of many one. Out of many one.
Thank
One
you.
people.
Yes, it's about unity. And our test is to see if we can come together. Imagine, right? You see, like computers, each computer has a processor and they have memory. If you put all the computers in the world together, do you know how powerful that computer will be? Because you're using all the processing power at the same time. And I'm not making this up. This is what they're calling the blockchain today, where you're harnessing all the power of the processors. I'm saying that to say we are all individually computers with processors called our minds. And we just go put our mind together and figure out this one thing to free the master teacher. And that's it. So going back to the question, yes, there is divine plan. If you read the revelations of the Sabians, which is this scroll here, he tells you that. And if you read also the Proverbs of Yanun, he explains that it was by divine plan, because at one point he was getting distracted by the world. Everybody wants to pull him in this direction and that direction. And he said that the elders were like, let's put you in solitude, put you somewhere where you can focus. And that's when he completed our language. That's when we got Patarak. That's where we got more books than we had when he was outside, because he's now able to be in one place, focus, and give us all the stuff. And if you really look at it, the devil thought that they had him, because they think if you take away the head, the body will drop. as they've done to all leaders previous to Panababyanun. But we now know he's the wisest out of all of them. What he did was make sure he raised many, many supreme beings, many gods, if you want to use that term. So for nearly 23 years now, they thought we would have just faded away like every other organization has done. But we have maintained and have been strong all the way. We didn't give up. So much so that, you know, the sisters, Zamaltat, they're very loyal. They go to visit Panababyanun every week without fail. We have spent millions and millions of dollars and pounds on fighting the cases, you see, because they really thought that, like, they were Goliath and we are David. And we were just this little thing that they can just brush off. But no, we have united. And even now, we're even stronger. We're getting more momentum. Right. Because like what they did with Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, and all of these, the more injustice, the more the world's getting to know about it. And to the point where he will be exonerated and he will be free. So yes, it was divine plan, but we are the ones that are lacking behind. We're very, very behind. In 20 years, we should have really, but we're doing it. We're getting there, but there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done. And every single person here has a job to do. And once you're resurrected, you got to start doing the works. So did that answer your question?
Yes, it gave some light.
Okay. Jackie, you have your hand up, and then Patricia, you have your hand up as well.
I was wondering regarding the have you heard of the King Alfred's plan, where it includes extermination of the Napians and the Hispanics?
King whose plan?
King Alfred's plan.
No, can you enlighten me? I mean, we've been the target of extermination for 6,000 years, and we're still here. But go ahead. If
well,
you can
basically, you know, in hearing others talk about it, this said that it includes exterminating us and the Hispanics. And I was just wondering, anyway, since you haven't heard of it, what is your take on such a plan anyhow?
It's not going to work. It's not going to ever work, because it's like, if you really study who we really are, right? We are the glue that holds the universe together. Our blackness, our melanin, they can't live without us. So there's a love-hate relationship. It's like if you take away all the black ink from this book, there will be no knowledge, no intellect. Yeah, they know our power. We actually magnetically attached to the planet in terms of our energy. Right. And they've tried to eliminate us. They came up with many plans known as alternative 1, 2, and 3. So the alternative 1, as you say, was exterminate us. They tried that with the drug addiction, putting cocaine in our neighborhoods. Even like you go to most of our neighborhoods, you see like, you know, you'll have off licenses, you have everything, bad food, chicken shops that are just everywhere, kebabs, name it. And even when we were being teased for like eating watermelons, you know, I'm talking about back in the 60s, 70s, they didn't realize watermelons were cleaning us out. You see, so they've tried extermination, and they say we multiply too fast. So now there's a problem with fertility rate amongst the Adamites, where they have reached a point where it's extermination, because their fertility rate is so low that they can't reproduce anymore. Whereas we, on the other hand, and if you look at China, they had to stop, you know, had a law that you only have two children because they've run out of space. And so, yes, they've tried to exterminate us. That didn't work. Alternative 2 was to go underground, right? Go into the caverns, and so they can escape. But they met other extraterrestrial beings that already lived there, and they didn't want them amongst them, so they chased them out. Alternative 3 is what we're facing now, where you're seeing them trying to get off the planet, trying to launch rockets every minute to go to Europa, to go to Mars, to go anywhere they can get to go to leave the planet, to self-destruct based on the activities that they're doing with like nuclear weapons, etc. But we have to realize that the war is not our war. It's really the religious wars by these deities to remove themselves. And that's all you see them doing. Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, these wars have been going on and on over religion, you see. So yes, they have tried and will try. And unfortunately, we are the ones that are caught up in their world. And that's where, when you're not in Wu-Sabat and not building yourself, cleaning yourself inside and out, putting Wu-Sabat and practicing the rituals and the chants and the things that we are protected by way of our ancestors or the overseers, Parnatharu, then you're leaving yourself to be pickings. Because they said, what about the ones that are not following Wu-Sabat? They said, yeah, they can be on the menu. If you're living in the image and likeness of the devil, it's like you're seasoning yourself to be a part of that. So Wu-Sabat is here to resurrect and to guide you, because we have a guide who says, as long as you do as I say, you'll be fine. So that's the reality that we're living. Okay, Jackie, you're next.
You just answered my question. This is Jackie. You answered my question.
Oh, okay. Your hand is still up. That's fine. Okay, so we're over to Patricia. Patricia, you may unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Rahubat. I just wondered whether you, I just wondered whether you could read the update again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm just okay. I could read another one, but if you want this one again, all right, let's go. All right, it says, I am a Ghanaian, I, as a Ghanaian, came for my own people, the blacks all over this West, and my own people. Yet my own people received me not. John 1:11. Yet the many of them that do receive Nuapu will receive eternal life. I picked up a scroll today. I thought I brought with me. He wrote a scroll called Eternal Life a long time ago. Will receive eternal life and be transformed back into supreme beings, prepared for that journey home to Orion and Sirius. Let the earth sing, for the Son of Righteousness has arrived with the healings in his wings. No longer should you fear. The true Black Messiah is here. We are Africans, proud to be, live and die as Africans. All I am saying is that it's time to return to who and what we really are. Stephen, could you mute your mic, please? Thank you. Let me go back to that. All I am saying is it's time to return to who and what we really are as a people, our own stuff, and learn to live for and by each other. For those women whose nose hole is still open, put back in your nose ring. Put back in your nose ring. Gold, pure. Genesis 24:22. Hebrews Strong's number 5141. Nazam, nose ring. Only if you wish. I know we will be nationers, tribers, familiars, and just readers. Let people be what they will. Yet we are familiars. Family is those close to me and follow the Lamb wherever. And you see, they forgot that book. Are they black devils? Yes, they are. And now you will see them stick up their heads. Why this? Why that? I ain't going to do this or that. Let them go. Those who stay will be those who pray. We will move on with our lives in peace. We don't hate the European race. No, we see they hate us for no reason, so we get out of their way and watch them self-destruct, as you see now. So let us move on from the haters with our lives. It would be nice to rebuild Tamaray. I would love to, yet not with haters all around us. Hanan means jealous. That is what they really feel about our black race. Now, first, you must bring me home. This has to end now. All who claim they got this or that must all work as one now before it's too late. That's all the people that claim, I got this, I'm going to free him, I can do this by myself. Right, they got all come together. Now that it was pointed out that the world is receiving our doctrine, it opened my eyes that all my work over the years was not in vain. Wow, we are breaking the spell. Those who were reading Wu-Sabat, Nuapu, that 144,000 pure souls, not to be confused by the fakers on pure spirit, selfish ones who only pretend and try and make a living out of Nuapu, an old game the answers used to try. So now those who feel they're free, look at them. It's clear. They eat. So sad, their bodies will betray them. I used to always say to you all, the first and most important thing you must study is your own body, inside and outside inward, in order to reactivate your all ba'ath, resurrect. So just to reset the room for those who've just come in, today's topic is the real resurrection, and that's what we're talking about. It says, resurrect the barothry gland of the submental to regrow in the hippocampus area of the brain, and the third eye will be opened. Between the two thalamus sits the pineal gland and build thymosin. Well, you know about your barothry gland that Europeans don't have. Ba'a, soul gland. There is so much that most don't know, and so many think they know. What fools these mortals be. I know over these years I did my best, yet mortals all want you to be their religious figures from their made-up Bible and Quran. They want to change alchemy into their religious miracles, spookism. Well, our time on this planet is almost over. And now that we are past the 400 years from 600 to 2000 AD, 6000 AD, for the cursed seed, all we see is the mark of the beast. Hebrew Strong's number 2416. Chai, life, is taken hold of the blacks in America. They offer their souls to the man of sin, live in their image and like them. Those to be saved will come from outside of America. Old man time running out. That's the reread. All right.
Thank you.
And Takatirafu. Tim, do you have your hand?
Yes, thank you. It's just a follow-up to what you talked about, the 144,000 and being taken to another place where they'll start a new kind of thing, life. Something are they starting this new life? So those on this planet will move over there, or do they have a role to come back and help the other brothers left back here? So what happens after they leave?
It depends on the time period and what's going on the planet at the time. And this is why it's so important for us to do our job and do what we need to do. But if the planet hasn't been totally destroyed, or it's not on the verge of being totally destroyed, then yes, those 144,000 are taken away and receive their barythry gland will help to save the planet and to, basically transform it to what it's supposed to be, which is in this new sun cycle, it's got to get rid of the 6 ether forces. However, because remember, we don't deal with, we deal with fate, meaning that we have the ability and the power to change our course and our destiny by what we do. So, for example, if we don't do what we're supposed to do and get Partner Babylon out, that's another fate. Yeah, if we do, that's another fate. And so if it got to the point where it was if the planet wasn't able to be saved, then those will just go and live and start again. The previous update actually went into that, which explained that you'll be taken to start again. And you only need a certain amount of people to start all over again. This is what happened many times when you're told that the world was destroyed. It wasn't obviously the entire planet, but, there were times where a particular species, like, the dinosaur period, and certain times where you had to restart all over again. So it all depends on us and what we're doing. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does answer, but it raises another question. My question is, to be saved means you're not able to save yourself. So then if your savior now makes you the one to save yourself, does it not counter each other? I'm waiting for a salvation, and now I'm told you have to save me to save you.
Okay. You say you're waiting for salvation. Nowhere does it say you should wait for someone to save you.
No, just an example. Like we know that
we're not waiting. That's what we're saying. You are being saved because he is here by the information and the fact that he's exposing the lies and teaching you what you should be doing. That this is where the religious concept of, we were talking earlier on about being saved and someone coming to save you and dying for your sins. That's an illusion that makes people sit around and be lazy and don't do anything because they think, one, they've already been saved, so they're going to go straight to heaven, a place that doesn't exist, that they don't know until that time comes. Or the second one is that someone is coming to save you and you're idle, ideally just wasting your life and your time doing foolishness when you should be really, like he says, studying so that you can upgrade yourself, cleaning yourself inside out. I mean, just learning the language alone will take up a lot of your time. So no one is saying we should wait to be saved. We are saving ourselves by the things we do individually, but more importantly, we have to do it collectively. So it's not saying that he's come to save you so that you can save him. He can go anytime he wants. He's not trapped here because, his physical body, as in Malachi, is a physical being, and that's the one that is incarcerated. But we have to, the test is not that hard for us to put our minds and our brains and our resources and everything together to get him released. It's not that hard. It's just that religions divides us, and the myths and the folklores and the stories have your mind trapped, so you don't know how to think or reason. So we fight against each other instead of us working together. And as you know, the word Africa, that's what they did. Afrika, Farka, to divide. And they use a system called divide and conquer. They know when we're together, we're powerful and they can't really do anything. And now you're seeing a lot of leaders in Africa, Burkina Faso, they're now saying, look, we've had enough. Enough is enough. You're taking our resources. that are helping you live lavishly. But now we want to do that. So it's a matter of us just coming together. That's how simple it is. And Wu-Sabat is doing that because everyone that you see in the room or in a community of Fabians or Napians have come from a different background. Muslims, Christians. Oh, right. I thought you're saying time. But yeah, we're going to finish early today because we've got another meeting over. So just a few minutes before. But yeah, you see in the room, we'll have Christians, Muslims, Jews, people that come from an atheist background, whatever it is, but it's uniting all under one banner, under Wu-Sabat. No one else has been able to do that in our history. So this is new. I have.
Thank you.
Right. So any other questions? I see Drew. Oh, sorry. Let's go to Clubhouse before Drew. Go ahead, Herseed. Robot.
Woken my mind, and I try to stay out of the spookism and sensationalism, but I can honestly say with my experiences that the master teacher in flesh is behind bars in ADX. I know he has touched my soul in a way that is only personal to me, but me continuing to be in silent is not going to really make people understand how great this person really is. So we all have our own journey and all the things that we're trying to shed our lives of. But in the midst of all that, I'm working to give all those things back so I can be where I need to be.
Absolutely.
So the resurrection is in the mind, in the soul. But the test is the physical battle that we basically have to go through every single day.
100%.
So, again, I appreciate your time. And again, Tech for your time and dedication.
Tawatat Zamata. Yeah, we like to hear from different people, different voices, different energies, especially the Zamal Tatu, because we really need your, you're the ones with the keys. You got those pass keys, and it's about us coming together and working together. And yeah, it's that time. The time is now. Now is the time. So yeah, we love to hear, when like the sister mentioned, everyone has their personal resurrection, their personal message or incident or something that Pana Babylon lets them know who he is. And everyone's experience is different. Some people have so many different experiences. I certainly have had mine over the years. And sometimes you can't put it into words. But Pana Babylon, he's the one. He is that being. And it does sadden us when we know and feel what he's going through for us. He said he has died 1,000 times for us. And is still, even in his situation, he gives more to the culture and to Wu-Sabat than those of us who are, walking around physically free. So no one has an excuse. No one has an excuse, not in this day and time. So yes, thank you so much for sharing those few words. Anybody else? Any other questions? Oh, we've got a brother in the room. Go ahead. Oh, no, wait, there was someone else. Drew, after Drew, then you, brother. Go ahead, Drew.
Thank you, Dr. J. My name is Drew. I live in Nairobi, Kenya. And I have a question. Someone told me it's 2000 AD, and I think as Black men we have really suffered. I know in the United States there are 2 million Black men in prison. In Africa, a lot of us are in poverty. In Kenya, where I live, I think 85% of the people worship a white Jesus. So my question is, when will people awaken, or when will our situation change for us? It's been a long time, and I think people are still in ignorance and suffering. And as a black man who's kind of awakened, there's a lot of stuff I still don't know. If you try and wake up people and tell them worshiping a white man is not good, they'll even think you're a Satanist, or they'll think you're the devil if you try and tell them that that's not good. So I don't know. When will things change?
Okay. It's changing already. It's changed. It's just some people are not, they're not catching up. You know, we haven't got the time, like in terms of, like you say, like in this day and time, 2025, to still be on that mindset, that means we're not doing our job. Right. All of us, even yourself, you know, because you're saying, when will it change? But the question is, when will you make it change? Right. You see, let me just read this. This is the introduction from the 9. Let me, Atumre, inform you, it was me who guided the hand of Malachi Z. Kobino York, Okran, from the year 2000 AD. Before me were others. I am of the 9, born of Nunet and Nun. So I am named, O primeval one, called Tum, from the word perfect, entire, tamim in Hebrew, perfect, tamam in Arabic, one who is a perfecter. I am here in order to perfect the way, by way of the truth, Wu Nawat. We, the 9, are the guardians of the underworld, that is Sirius, the chamber of the south. In the book of Job, Ayub 9:9, I entered his body when he was first born. He is a medium, a channel. By way of him, we are able to transcribe our formation into information for you all. The lost found people. We searched for you many years until we found you all amongst the sleeping under a hypnotic trance. Not remembering self and kind, we returned in 2003 AD and again 2013 AD. Yet you all were not ready to depart towards home. We tried to communicate by way of the white and the red races. However, their nature was weak and wicked. We have visited the brown and the yellow races. They are safe by way of us. And many white and red women are safe by way of mixing their seeds with others, because the end of their species has arrived. The year 2000 AD, and in the 21st of December 2012, the new cycle called 9 support deities in the language of the Mayas, engraved in the year 669 AD. The Tortorigo inscription. It is now the 5th world, the first of the next 6,000 years, the 7th day, the millennium. We are from Orion and Sirius, guarding the overseers, the watchers. We will soon depart from here for the final time. You all are the 13th lost tribe, the Napians, found. So that is to say, you're asking when will it be? It has already, in fact, from the year 1970, Parnabab Yanun opened the 7th seal and started teaching us. The problem is that, like you say, most of us were so spooked out by religion that every time he stood in front of us to ask us if we have any questions, we kept asking questions about religion. So he actually spent a lot of time, the first half hour from 1970 to the year 2000, giving us what we wanted by the questions we were asking, so that we would learn to want what he has to give. And that was Wu-Sabat. So it's been here. It's just that even now, as you say, how many of us are really picking up the mantle to represent Wu-Sabat, to live the culture, dress like your Sabian, go out there to fish for men and save souls? not being afraid, because fear is one of the factors that they've used to make you so afraid that you don't feel you have any power or the ability to be yourself. Yet other races do it. So that false evidence appearing real, that's what fear is. And we've got to stop being afraid of living and being who you are. And that's the reality. That's where the ones are holding ourselves back. So we have to start embracing Wu-Sabat 100%. You know, because you have to. You can't not be who you are. You're not Romans. You're not Greeks. You're not Asians. You're not Hindus. So, but we try to be everything and anyone other than ourselves. We're Africans. But most of us think we're Afrikaans. Yes, we can, Obama said. Yes, we can. We're Africans, so embrace it. Use your nine ether. That's what Wu-Sabat does. It ignites you as a soul being, as a nine ether being. Yeah. Yeah, so any other questions?
Greetings.
Roll back.
You know, the Nation of Islam, according to them, they're saying that Islam has been around for 76 trillion years. What's your answer to that?
They're copying our doctrine, because Islam's been around for 1400 years. Their own scholars will tell you that. But the thing is, we don't even care about Islam. Whether it's been here for however long, but we know the facts, because the Quran, Arabic. Nation of Islam, they talk about Asiatic black man. We're not Asians. You see, so it's misinformation, because if you go back and study the origins of the Nation of Islam by way of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he started off with the Voodoo Temple. That's what they were called before. And you go back and look at people like Noble Drew Ali of the Moorish Science Temple. Again, they were based in their stuff on Islam. They were telling us we're Asiatic, the Asiatic black man, right? When you study the lesson. So we're not Asiatic, but they didn't realize at that point that there was going to be a time in the future in 1953 when, you know, scientists were going to decipher the human genome and decipher the genes, the 24,000 genomes, which proves who's who on the planet. You see, so we are Homo naledi and Homo habilis. These are the first people on the planet, scientifically, through anthropologists now. And then you have the Denisovan or the Homo florensis dealing with the Asians. And then you have the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon dealing with the Caucasians. So it's very clear the differences between us. But they didn't know, Nation of Islam didn't know these facts. They didn't know about the fact that we were not Asians. So they just followed a kind of a foundation that was based on Arabs and religion, you see. And even the Honorable Elijah Muhammad knew of the master teacher coming. You know, he told them to look out for Pana Babyanun. He told them to look out for the person that was going to come with this new Arabic. That's really Miss Batia, this new song, this new language. He told them to look out for the one that has the lamb. The lamb is dealing with, you look at the master teacher, when, you know, the staff that he holds. When he first came, he had that lamb that had the hook-like staff on him. And you look at the holy tablets, it starts off with Lo every chapter. The L, because in Arabic, he taught us Arabic. So when you look at lamb looks like this, which is like an L, right? Backwards, but that is every, so, you know, there are many, many things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to look out for this new being that was going to come. He said, after me, only God himself can come. And the master teacher came saying that I'm God. So we can go on and on. So it's like facts are facts. They can't teach you of Fard Muhammad being a half white man and then have the whole thing of saying that, you know, the white man's the devil. But then the person that you put up above everyone as your God is half white. That's backwards. You see, so these are things that our brothers, the Nation of Islam, we want to embrace everyone. We want everyone to come home. So when it comes to information and doctrine, you know, they can't really match the information that Partner Babylon is teaching. But we know that most people were bamboozled. Like our brothers that are Christians, they were bamboozled with the Bible. Brothers that are into Islam, Sunni, in terms of, you know, Orthodox Sunni Muslim, they were bamboozled. They're not Arabs. So it's about letting go of the pride, the egos and all of that, and realizing, look, Wu-Sabat is powerful. That's our way. And nothing can stand against Wu-Sabat. No one alive or dead has done more works than Partner Babylon by way of whatever method, metric you want to use to measure, whether it's books they've written, languages they speak, communities they've built. No one can unite us as he has done. So it's the day and time where we're really saying everyone just come together, whether you're from the Israeli church, Hebrew Israelites, Nation of Islam, you know, your DNA speaks for itself. You can't lie to, you know, to yourself. You are African, you are who you are. Even though people say, I'm not African because I'm indigenous to the Americans or the Americas. That's based on, yes, you may have been on that side of the planet before the continental drift, and your whole like lineage, your grandma, your mom, they were born in America, fine. But it's not about where you're at, it's about your DNA. That's why I gave you that whole thing about the scientists breaking us down into DNA. I always use this example, like people try to claim that they are a location. You know, I'm Jamaican, I'm Trinidadian, I'm from this island, and I'm from Ghana, but those are places. And you can't be from where you're born, because if you were born on an aeroplane in the middle of the ocean, you can't say I'm from the ocean. It doesn't make sense. So you are who you are based on your DNA. You see, it's like, and then they gave us names describing situations of what they saw us doing. We've never had to tell our own story ourselves. We've gone by history, which we say history. And our stuff is, or my stuff is a mystery. You see, my story, and then they say, his story, before there was history, there's something called what? Prehistoric. The prehistoric man. Who's that? They're talking about us. Because we predate history. We predate his story. But we have had to, you know, fall in their lies for 6,000 years. And now Partner Babylon has come to clear it all up. So we just got to come together and unite and let us just, you know, be who we are. And then you start to see the differences. You can't dial the wrong telephone number and expect to get the person. Yeah. So people are dialing to their ancestors, but they're dialing the wrong number to Islam, Judaism, Christianity, and they're not getting through. You got to dial Wu-Sabat. Go dial Wu-Sabat to get through to your ancestors. Yeah. And they will listen to you and receive you, and you start to connect with them. They start working through you. You start doing great things, you see. So yeah, I hope that answered your question, Stephen.
Yeah, talk.
And all right, let's look at the chat. When would a black man rise? Oh, we can answer that. What are you reading from? I'm not sure. At that time, it might have been the 9 I was reading from. And before that, I was reading from the update. Can anyone wear the uniform? That's from Mr. Messina. Number one, it's not a uniform. We're not in the army. This is our cultural attire, but I'll get the point. And we just say that for the benefit of everyone. Yes, you can if you represent Wu-Sabat. Don't be wearing this and then burning a blunt around the corner or acting the clown. And the people look at you and say, oh, look at those Napians. You got to represent the culture. You see, it's like, if you represent Wu-Sabat, yes, of course. We'll be proud to see you walking and wearing what you call uniform. It's not a uniform. We have different types. Yeah. But yes, you can. Come into the community, learn why you're wearing it, because you wear it, someone starts asking questions, what does that symbol mean? Or why are you wearing it? And you can't answer the question. So you have to come into the family. Yeah. get involved, become familiar with the family, and you get to know what a real Napian or Sabian man. We have a part of that called Sabian man, which tells you exactly what you should be doing as a man. If you want to represent Wu-Sabat. So yeah, that's the answer to that.
Definitely.
What can we do in our daily lives to enhance our natural power? Listen, read the books. Anyone who's reading the scrolls, see, really all we're supposed to do is point you to the scrolls. Just read the scrolls, because all your questions are answered. Of course, if you're reading a scroll and you get stuck, those of us who have been reading the scrolls a lot longer, just like everyone goes through the same thing, where you read something, it doesn't make sense to you, you go and read another book, you ask people, you get a breakdown to clarify what you're reading, and then it gets clearer for you. But other than that, we're here to point you to the books, to the scrolls, and you will have your own personal resurrection by the connection you have with the master teacher. No one can deny you that but yourself. Right, we're coming to 9:07. We're going to finish a little bit early, maybe like 5 or 10 minutes before, because we have another meeting. So yeah, we got a few more minutes. If you haven't asked your question, let me see the chat in the clubhouse.
Can I ask a question? Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
So in regards to the update you're reading, there was a part that says those who stay will be those who pray. What was he trying to say by those who stay? And in Wu-Sabat, how do you pray?
Yeah, so you've heard the saying, the family that prays together stays together, yeah? Right. So when we say pray, we don't mean in the sense of like the religious way. We're talking about we chant together. By chanting together, we enhance our energy. It's called synergy in the scientific term. So we can basically do more when we come together. So the chants that we do, the rituals that we perform together, those enhance our abilities collectively. So that's what he's referring to. Yeah. So we chant 9 a.m., 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. every day. Okay. I'm looking at the chat. Okay, that's been answered. I like that, Curtis. Burning weed in Tarbush, laughing out loud. Yeah, that's true. We don't represent, what we represent for Wu-Sabat should be the best in terms of how we carry ourselves and what we look like. Why don't we write to President Trump for freeing Dr. York from jail? Because we can do it ourselves. And that is something that's been done. That's called clemency. So we've kind of like exhausted that for years with all the presidents that have been there. So every avenue has been looked at. Who's asking the question? Dara's iPad. Yeah, so we've already done that. But what we're saying is we are the ones that are going to do it. It's like the helping hand that you're looking for is at the end of your own arm. That's one of the sayings of Parnabab Yanun. I was trying to look into this subject and I came across the resurrection ritual, which was done in the ancient Egyptian orders. Kindly give me more info about that. Okay, so, yeah, so in Wu-Sabat, there are different aspects, okay? Obviously, you come in and you're part of the family and you start to learn the ways of Wu-Sabat, the culture. But then to go further, there are orders like the brotherhood, the sisterhood, and these are higher levels of learning. And there are initiations, the ancient Egyptian order, for example, there are initiations that resurrect you even further, where you're born again. You go through certain tests, we say trials and tribulations, to see whether or not you're worthy. And that's a journey that everyone should take. And I was saying that with the the Patarat, the Napian man. You read that every man should read that, because it tells you in Wu-Sabat what a Sabian or Napian man is supposed to be, what his responsibilities are, and whether or not you want to take that journey. So, yeah, so that's relating to that ritual that you're born again. And if you look at, there's a diagram, I don't remember where it's at, but where the master's holding a mummified body. I don't know if you've all seen that picture, but it's the one where you see the footsteps and he's carrying a mummy. And that's because he's resurrecting you from the dead state where you were from a dead level to a living perpendicular. You see what I'm saying? So you're raised back up after you've been dead, as we were saying before, dead mentally, dead spiritually. And now you come into Wu-Sabat, and there are different levels of resurrections that you go through to where we are, where we got this double Ankh-Tui, which represents the double resurrection, where you were born, you were lied to, you got killed in terms of becoming ignorant of the facts, not knowing who you are, not knowing what your culture is, not knowing your language, and now you're being born again. Not the born again in the religious sense where they say you have to die before you get born again and go to heaven and all that stuff, which no one has been able to prove. Do you have a question, brother?
Yeah.
Go ahead. And then we have Henrique after.
Yeah, how can we immediately detect and witness the healing of our traumas?
Well, I mean, it depends on you and what the traumas are. And literally, it takes time, because remember, some of these traumas go back generations and generations, and that's dealing with what we call epigenetics. So Wu-Sabat literally helps you to deal with that, because once you realize, that your ancestors were basically beguiled and fooled, and they didn't know any better, so they behaved in a particular way and did what they could based on the circumstances. And then you're born into that world, and you kind of take on some of those traumas to the point where you're lost. And then now you're healing. And I remember when I read the update, it's saying the Son of Righteousness has arrived with healing in his wings. So we have to be healed. We have to be healed with Wu-Sabat. And, the chants and recognizing who you are. And the more you get in tune with yourself, you realize that you're actually chosen by your ancestors to help them as well, because they're still trapped and they need you to elevate to the point where when you cross over, you can help them and release them, because some of them are still stuck on certain realms and they can't move on unless someone knows the right knowledge and comes to help them. So it's work in progress. It will take time. And just keep reading as much as you can with Wu-Sabat. Wu-Sabat is the medicine, you see, because it gives you back that ashuk, that true divine love. All right. Okay. Rahul Bazma. Right, we've got 6 minutes left because we're finishing early. Henrique Adams, you've got your hand up. You can unmute yourself and ask a question. If you have a question, that is. Henrique?
Yes, can you hear me?
Tua.
Tua. So, Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Oh, yes. Rahubat second. Can you hear me now?
Tua, Rahubat, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
The question that I wanted to ask is that with the chanting, are there any breathing exercises that you guys do before going into the
Yes.
chanting?
I did. Yeah, sorry, we do. And I'm going to tease some people now because I've actually got the breath book with me, which is very hard to get hold of. So yes,
yes.
But a lot of the things we do, we have, my brother Hotep's here, we have, I know you're probably not local, but we do have classes where family can come and learn the breathing and get involved with the chants together. So Yes, there are many breathing exercises because you kind of have to detoxify yourself and release negative energy by some of these breathing
Yes.
exercises that will then get you in line and in tune. So when you are chanting collectively, you know, you have a better impact and it actually works more for you. So yes, definitely. There are many breathing exercises in the breath book that Partner
Breath
Babylon.
book.
Yeah.
Okay. It's quite
When,
funny because today I just watched I
sorry.
watched a clip on YouTube, and there was the woman from the Hereafter Doctrine, and she was going into that meditation and the
Yes.
breathing. And I was like, because I thought that I'm quite new to it, but I will come on the Thursdays. So I'm just trying to make some plans for myself, so to come myself and to come and visit you guys and learn a bit more. Thank you so much, Wu-Sabat.
Wadu. Yeah, so even though we, you know, we're dispersed, there are still things going on online. As you said, you know, Sister Nuntat, she does those exercises before the readings and stuff. So even if you're far away, you can still participate online until we get back to that point where we can fellowship again and rebuild, because that's what it's about. It's not just study. We got to put it into action. We've got to rebuild. You know, we need to have those, you know, when you go to those Christian and you see thousands of people. Yeah, that's what we want to see Wu-Sabat, you know, because we have to counteract that negativity that they're pushing on the planet. All right. Okay, so we have 3 minutes left because we do have to finish a bit early today. Any other questions? Just looking at the chat. Anyone else in the class? If not, we're going to round.
Greetings.
Greetings, Stephen. Go ahead.
The Zulus in South Africa, yeah.
The what? Sorry, in South Africa?
The Zulus.
Oh, Zulus.
You know the
Yes.
Zulus?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear before. Go on.
Do they have Wu-Sabat?
Did they have Wu-Sabat?
Yeah.
Not fully, no. Wu-Sabat is naturally our way of life when we're in tune with nature. That's part of it. But the information for the hereafter doctrine, you know, the Patrak, the actual facts, that's something that the master teacher has brought. So, yeah, they didn't have it again, it depends on what time period you're talking about, but there are people now in South Africa that are embracing Wu-Sabat just like others around the globe. So it's about getting in tune now with what the masters come to give us. But obviously they were in tune, some of the tribes were in tune with nature, just as we say, the Sans people and others as well that have maintained or retained a lot of their culture. But our true culture is Wu-Sabat. All right?
Also, I want to ask, you know, the Black Panther Party in North America, are they into Wu-Sabat?
That's a very vague question because there are different people within those parties, and we're not a political group. We're not affiliated with any political groups. We live Wu-Sabat and teach Wu-Sabat to the world. And anyone, whether they're part of the Black Panther or part of the Labour Party or Conservative or Republic, as long as they accept Wu-Sabat, then they accept Wu-Sabat. They have to put it into practice and live it. All right?
Ashok.
All right, Moisar, that's the end of class for today. We want to thank everyone. Remember, help us. We've hit the target of 100K. We want to go to 1 million now. So share the videos, like the videos, subscribe, and help us to reach the world. We have 8 billion people to reach on the planet and see how many of them will really embrace Wu-Sabat. So until next week, same time, same place, with our brother Hat teaching class next week. I didn't know we can do that. Let's do that. Wadu family. Wadu Musa.
Wadu.
Wadu, Misa.
Wadu.
Wadu.